welcome back to this new tutorial. Today we are going to talk about the Zoopedia. The Zoopedia is basically like the encyclopedia of everything in Planet Zoo, everything that you will need to do to keep your animals happy and safe in their habitats. So let's begin. First of all, to access the Zoopedia, you just need to click on this icon here, Zoopedia. And then you will see a list of all the animals that you currently have in Planet Zoo. You can see that by default they are sorted in alphabetical order. So the first animal here is the aardvark. And you can also filter. Let's check out all the different filters that we have over here before we go to the general information about the animals. First of all, you need to find the animal before you can read more about the animal. So first we find a search input field where we can write the name of the animal. Like, let's say the fennec fox. The search filter will give us some suggestions, so if we click on them, we go directly to the fennec fox, which is like super cute. It's one of my favorite animals and I truly love fennec foxes. After we have the search bar, we can also filter by the different biomes of the animals. For example, let's say that we want to have all the animals from the tundra. We can just click here and we will see a list of only the animals that live in the tundra. Okay, we have the Arctic wolf, the Arctic fox, we also have the polar bear. We can also select multiple biomes. Here we have taiga, grassland, temperate, desert, tropical, and aquatic. So you can choose either one of them or multiple. If you see a red border around the biome, that means that it is currently selected. And if you click on it again, you will deselect it. After that, we see three types of filters. We can filter by type of animal. And with type of animal, I mean if the animal is a habitat animal or an exhibit animal. I will cover the differences between habitats and exhibits in a future tutorial, but for now, let's just see how this works. Basically, a habitat animal is an animal that can move more freely in the game, so you can create barriers and you can choose where to place the habitat and how to customize the terrain. Like this, if we select habitat, we can see that all of these animals are habitat animals. But if I just choose to keep exhibit animals, I will see that they tend to be smaller animals because they will be inside specific exhibits created for them specifically. We have several types of exhibits like the normal exhibits, we have the walkthrough exhibits, and many types of exhibits. I will cover them in a tutorial as well because they are super nice. This also includes the sloth, which I also think it's super cute. We can also select both of them, okay? But selecting both of them is equivalent to just selecting any type because there are only two options. After that, we can also filter by continent. We have Europe, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, and Oceania. So if we just click on one of these, we can see all the animals from Asia. And if we also select Africa, then we will see both of them. So that is super helpful in case you want to create a themed zoo with animals from specific continents. If you just want animals from any continent, select this option. And finally, we can also filter by conservation status. These are the conservation statuses that we have in the game. We see data deficient, domesticated, least concern, near threatened, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, and extinct in the wild. Let's see if we have any extinct animals. Oh boy, we have the scimitar horned oryx. That is unfortunate. It's extinct in the wild. And after that, we have also endangered animals, and you get the point. You can filter by the conservation status. Great, so now that we checked all the different filters, let's choose an animal and let's go to the general information. Let's go to the fennec fox and let's read the general information that you can find. You will find this information for almost all of the animals in the Zoopedia. Okay, it follows the same structure. Here we have the fennec fox. We also see the scientific name for the species, and we see the conservation status. Here you can see that we have extinct in wild, critically endangered, vulnerable, near threatened, least concern, which is the conservation status for the fennec fox. We also have domesticated and data deficient, the conservation status that you could see here. So we also have them here for the animal. We don't know the number of fennec foxes in the wild, but here, if that number is known, you will see the number. You will also see a short introduction, a short description of the animal. And here you will find more information about the animal. We can also see more specific information over here at the bottom. Here you can see the class, the order, the family, and the genus. Here we can find these different tabs. We have general information, natural habitat, species data, research status, and interspecies enrichment. And we would also see world records, but they are only available in franchise mode. Currently, I am playing in sandbox mode. Okay, so that was the general information. If we go to natural habitat, here we can see where the fennec foxes live. We have a zoomed in picture of the area, the continent, the regions, specific regions within the continent. We also see the biomes. Fennec foxes only live in the desert. And we can also find the minimum habitat requirements. That is super helpful as well because that will be a practical information for the game itself, because we will need to know how much space we need to use in our zoo for that particular animal. We can choose how many adults we would like to have. For example, let's say that I want to have 4 adult fennec foxes and 2 juveniles, 2 babies. In that case, I can see that I would need a land requirement of 294 square meters. So I have to check that number when I create the habitat to know if it meets their requirements. We see that the fennec foxes do not climb, so we have 0 square meters. They do not need water, so we have 0 square meters of water. And they do not need any deep water. We also see temperature requirements, because in Planet Zoo we have heaters and we have coolers, and we will need to adjust the temperature of that particular habitat to meet the animal's needs. In this case, fennec foxes can tolerate temperatures from 3 degrees to 43 degrees Celsius. And here we can also see the boundary requirements. That is also super helpful because you will need to know how tall the barriers must be to keep your animals in their habitat to keep them from escaping. In this case, we need a grade 2 barrier that is taller than 4.95 feet. So we will talk more about barriers and boundary requirements in a tutorial on my channel, so stay tuned. That is also super important to keep your animals from escaping. We have more species data. We see more information about their social needs, like group size, male bachelor group size, female bachelor group size, dominance, if we have an alpha male and an alpha female, the mating system, the maturation rules, relations with humans, if the guest can enter the habitat. Yes, we see that guests can enter the habitat of fennec foxes, and that is another great thing about Planet Zoo. We can, based on the species, let guests enter the habitat and walk around the animals. Of course, we're not going to do that for the lions unless we are very cruel to our guests, but there are some species that are not aggressive or dangerous to guests, so we can do that, and the fennec foxes are one of them. We can also see the average size, life expectancy, and weight. That will be helpful because you can see the life expectancy of the species, and when you go to the animal trading tab over here to adopt some animals for your zoo, you can see how many years of life, of expected average life, they still have. And we also see some information about their life cycle, the age of sexual maturity, when they become sterile, the number of offspring per mating event, the gestation or incubation period, interbirth period, and reproduction in captivity. We see that for fennec foxes that would be easy, but for some species it may not be. And in this tab we find the research status. We are in sandbox mode, so everything is already available for us, but if we were playing in a different game mode, then we would need to have some researchers researching for habitat enrichment items, for specialized diets, and food enrichment items for the animals. In sandbox mode, we already have all of this available. And here we can find interspecies enrichment. We see that fennec foxes don't benefit from sharing space with other species because, that's right, you can create habitats with multiple species if they have some interspecies enrichment. For example, let me click here on the Dama gazelle. And here we find the general information for the Dama gazelle. But here, if we go to the interspecies enrichment, we see that the Dama gazelle will be enriched by sharing their habitat with these animals, with the beautiful addax, with the beautiful dromedary camel, and with the scimitar horned oryx. Awesome, those are the main aspects of the Zoopedia that I wanted to show you. Those are like the most important aspects. And just know that there are many species I recommend checking the Zoopedia very frequently while you're playing Planet Zoo and even before creating the habitat so you know that you are meeting the animals' requirements. Great, I hope you liked this tutorial and I will see you in the next video. Have fun playing Planet Zoo and have an awesome day.